Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this Monday morning hangover. And man, I tell you what, the hangover ain't so bad when you win a game like you did yesterday. You know, they say the NFL is a week-to-week league, and I just think about where we were this time last week. Last week we had Stephen A. Smith. Let me tell you here, Dak Prescott, he's the weakest link on the Dallas Cowboys. They ain't going nowhere. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, Stephen A. All of the haters and the trolls out there that descended upon us, you know, telling us how bad you lost to Aaron Rodgers, a team that was, lost 5 games straight. Okay, and that the team was buried. We couldn't stop the run. We blew a big lead. Dak had a couple interceptions. Micah Parsons didn't get any sacks. It was just like, it was hell. This is the polar opposite today. Today, it's all love. It's back to Super Bowl talk. Shout out to Miss Anita. Happy Victory Monday. Hope all is well. Have a great day, Miss Anita. It's amazing how a big win will make you feel. Now, this is going to be short-lived, okay? Don't get all excited because this game is only one of 17. 17 opportunities to prove that you belong with a chance to try and go to the big dance. We got another big test Thursday. Short week. Short week. Who wears short shorts? I know a lot of y'all old heads out there remember that. We got to face the New York Giants. A team much like the Minnesota Vikings that is a team that nobody thought was going to be any good. Minnesota Vikings that only have 3 losses, 1 being to us. The only reason why we are ahead of them in the standings at second place, because we beat them. A team that has Barkley, who has stayed healthy and is leading the Giants, without a doubt. They make mistakes. They're a young team, but they're well coached. So if you go in there sleepwalking, Giants can steal a victory, and I remind you that Thanksgiving dinner has been ruined the last 5 years. We need to get a victory. So let's enjoy this. But we need to turn our attention, maybe half the day. We'll enjoy this till, say like 2 o'clock. Then we got to start thinking about the Giants. Short week. So we've got so much that's going on. We've got the whole Odell Beckham Jr. situation that's going on. And, last night, here's where it's getting to be kind of crazy because it's heated up. I almost feel like this is a done deal. I've never seen a team talk about a player coming so hard to an organization like this. After the victory last night, Jaron Curse. Now, just wait until we get Odell Beckham Jr. to join. Even more scary. Jerry Jones talking before the game, after the game. We got to sit down and talk and everything else, that we're going to be getting together. So I feel like this is the quiet storm that's coming. Or not quiet. No, actually, let me change that. This is the storm that's coming. It's just a matter of how much is it going to cost. I think it's just done. And the good thing, at least with this situation, if Odell does come, he doesn't have to be the man. And this is what worked last year for him coming to the Rams, having an injured season too. He was in and out of the lineup with the Cleveland Browns. He does not have to be the guy. He can be a piece to supplement what you already have. See, yesterday, our wide receivers only had 136 yards of receptions. It was the Tony Pollard show. Tony Pollard had 109. So when you could add another weapon where I can get the ball to Tony Pollard, where I can pound the rock with Zeke, I can hit CD. I can get Michael Gallup, who played a better game yesterday. I got Dalton Schultz. And, for good measure, I got 2 other tight ends. And, there's Odell. More options, more people to cover, make it harder on a defense to go. You could see that yesterday with the Eagles. The Eagles, congratulations, you won the game. But you can see how much they missed Dallas Goedert. They won, but they weren't scoring the points. They didn't have that extra option, that security blanket guy that would help that offense really rock and roll. They got out of there with the victory by the skin of their teeth. But you can see that hurts that offense. Having Odell, if you can get him healthy, especially when you say, okay, he maybe can play early December, that he's got a few games to start getting himself together because the playoffs don't start till middle of January, then you start looking at saying, okay, yeah, then maybe he can be peaking at the right time to help us. It will take time to get up to speed with the offense. It will take time to get back into shape, coming back from the injury and so on. But it sounds like it's a done deal. Looks like we're going to be getting some more reinforcements because we saw Jason Peters playing left tackle, Tyler Smith playing guard. And I think maybe the Cowboys looked at this and said, okay, this game is now practice. We're blowing them out to the point where we can experiment here and try and get ourselves situated for the end of the season. And if we put Tyler Smith at guard, when Tyron Smith comes back, we can put him back at tackle. I think that's going to be a done deal. And hopefully you end up being a better, stronger offensive line. And so I pointed out last week that what the Cowboys need to do is they need to, win, but focus in on trying to be the best team that you can be going into the end of the season. What can I do now to make sure that I'm peaking in the best team that I can be come the end of the season? And that's one of those moves that they made. So I do, in fact, love that. Now, here's what I also love, too. I love, actually, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back. Let me come back to this. I want you guys to look at something here right now. I love statistics. This is sacks for the season. You see over here, the gray, that's them boys with 42 sacks, 42. The next closest are the Patriots at 36. At 36. Can you believe that? And then the Eagles at 33. We have 9 more sacks than the Eagles on the season. We are averaging 4.2 sacks per game. We got back on track with the 7 yesterday. We only had 2 the week before. Now, I want you to check this out. All time. This is the all-time numbers. At 4.2 sacks per game. I know, Roz, stop extrapolating. I get it, because when I talked about this earlier in the season, you said you can't project that for the course of the whole season. You're right. But at the moment, you see down here, 72 sacks is the all-time record, and granted, they had 1 less game, and that was the 85 Bears. Right now, we're on pace for 71.4 sacks. We're only 1 off of the sack record. And even if you don't make it, right now, this Dallas Cowboy team has had more sacks than it's had half of the time over the last 20 years. Half of the seasons we've had, maybe even more. I got to go back and look at the numbers. This team has already gotten more sacks than the team did for the whole season, which is freaking insane to think about it. And this is a team that's better suited to be playing with the lead. Let's be clear here. You don't want to be trailing a team with this defense. You want to be leading with this defense. You want to turn those dogs loose and let them go hunt. You don't want to get into a ground and pound game where we're going to have to hold up. It's just the way it is, you know. You want to be in the lead. Now, I knew I couldn't wait for the talking heads because last week they literally killed the Cowboys. Cowboys are ass, they stink, and this, that, and the other. But what a difference a week makes. And I can't wait to listen to him this morning, see what Dan Orlowski has to say. You know, last week, Dan Orlowski was literally, they were trashing Dak Prescott. And, you know, after Stephen A. Smith had said that Dak Prescott is the weakest link, let's see if they kiss up to the Cowboys. Because when we say the NFL is a week-to-week league, that's not only for the teams, that's for the commentary too. And like they used to say for betting, when they used to put out stat lines, they say, this is only for entertainment purposes only. That's the way we need to take the talking heads. Go to it, Ryan.
Because what you did was you looked at the film and you said, you know what? You're going to have to beat me doing things that you can't do. I'm going to put Micah Parsons on the line and allow him to rush your tackle. I'm going to give him free reign, whether it's move inside or outside, to get to your quarterback. I'm going to allow Trayvon Diggs, who hasn't tracked any other wide receiver but A.J. Brown the entire year, to track Justin Jefferson. And, oh, by the way, we're going to make sure that Kirk Cousins, who we don't believe can read coverages and defenses after the snap if you move, we're going to make him do that. And I thought it was great by the Dallas Cowboys in the fact of the way that they schemed and the timely ways that they dialed up their coverages. But more importantly, they ran, they hit, and they were not scared. They stepped on this field to prove a point, and that point was proven.
They have very good players, and I think we should say something about them, too, that I don't feel like gets said much. They're a well-coached team.
Yes.
The Cowboys are a well-coached team, and that what you just said is an example of good defensive coaching, and you have tape on Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, when the Cowboys play this way, they could beat anybody in the NFL, let alone the NFC.
What?
I've said it for the remainder of this season or the heart of this season. The most reliable and best play in football is when the Cowboys defense knows you have to throw the ball on offense, because the way that Dan Quinn gets Micah Parsons freed up, walks the linebackers up, and then overloads one side right now. So this is a simulated pressure. I got to take my center, left guard, and left tackle and go one-on-one, everybody. Drop the linebackers in coverage. I only got 4 guys rushing, but I've created that one-on-one for Micah. Still 7 in coverage, nowhere to throw the football. Then he wins on that pass rush. This is the first third down of the game. All of a sudden, the ball comes out, and you're sitting there go, uh-oh. Now look at this one. This is a backup left tackle because Darisaw went out. What he does is create 2 wide 3 techniques. And then the left tackle has to be one-on-one because of it. That's a left tackle who's a backup in the league, blocking against the best pass rusher in all of football. So when you get into those yesterday on third down, the Minnesota Vikings had negative 4 yards. They had 4 sacks given up, and they had 1 conversion. If you go into a game or get into a game and the Cowboys defense knows third down has to be a passing down, you cannot score against them. I've said it all season long. You better be good on first down against that defense.
I want to get to Dak because there's been a lot of questions out of him, but let's get a final word. No one knows more about defense than you do, Rex Ryan.
Well,
how good is this Cowboy defense?
Phenomenal. And
only when they know it's a pass.
Absolutely. And here's the deal. Himbo gave me a stat. They're sacking the quarterback at 11.6%.
That's crazy.
Clearly the highest in the league. The highest in the league since 2006. That would have been the 2006 Ravens. Something I might know a little bit about.
By who?
That might be me. But it's going to be. But that's kind of the beatdown. And where you're seeing simulated pressures, all those type of things. That's what you do in obvious passing situations.
Right.
The difference for them is always going to be about stopping the dang run. And that was where I was shocked. Quite honestly, I said they should dehydrate Dalvin Cook, because I knew this was what it was going to look like if you threw every snap.
And that's the other thing, too. You got to think about it. Dalvin Cook in the first half was averaging over 5 yards a clip. It wasn't like this team wasn't able to run the ball. It was Kevin O'Connell deciding that he wasn't going to run the ball, and also Minnesota Vikings defensively not giving his team an opportunity to do that.
But let's be fair. Because last week after the loss to Green Bay, most of the conversation on this show was not about the defense. It was about the quarterback. What do we say about Dak Prescott coming off of 22 of 25, 276, 2 touchdowns, no picks?
Yeah, the thing that stood out yesterday that I hadn't seen this year is they gave him full control at the line of scrimmage. And that's something that they've done in the past. That's one of the reasons why you like this offense. Like 3rd and 6, right? Dak walks to the line of scrimmage, dummy cadence, everything. Now he's not only getting out of a bad play, but getting into an ideal and/or great play. And I love this 3rd and 6. He's going to read those second-level defenders on an RPO. He wants to slant the CD in the slot. They overplay it. The coverage carries that slant.
Big run.
Dak's 3rd and
Big
6.
run.
He could become a ball carrier because he knows exactly what's going on in defense. Again, 2nd and 7. You see that dummy leg kick, right? He's trying to gather information, realizes sluggo seam, now coverage, get to number 4 and 5, trusting his feet and his eyes to kick the ball to Tony Pollard.
That was Dak's best play of the game.
Yeah, and also,
incredible.
What I liked is the reality is this, and I've said this for 2 years, and the Cowboys offensively are best when they have multiple tight ends on the field. When they put those 2 or 3 tight ends on the field, I think it calms defenses down. I think Dak sees the field so much better. Since he's come back, they've scored 17 touchdowns. 11 of them are with multiple tight ends on the field. So he was really good yesterday. You got to give credit where it's due, controlling the line of scrimmage and get him into ideal plays.
I feel like that's something that you were telling us last year he did a lot of, and this year they hadn't been doing much.
Truthfully, Dominique Foxworth, I think, was the first guy that really saw it. Like, Dom, I think 2 years ago said it like, hey, they're giving him a lot of control at the line of scrimmage. That's when they're at their best, when he gets to kind of call the play at the line.
Let me ask you the question then that was asked to Jerry Jones quickly. Did we see a team that could wind up in the Super Bowl yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, what they showed you was that you have to start counting them with the elite in the NFC, right? Every time we were talking about teams that could challenge the Philadelphia Eagles, especially while they were undefeated, we went to the San Francisco 49ers.
Don't you think that we've said that, though? Like, don't we feel that way? The question for Dallas is, like, can they do that for 3 or 4 straight weeks?
Well, the other part is this, too. Last week, I was tougher on Kellen Moore than I was Dak Prescott. I felt like Kellen Moore needed to call the offense a certain way, and they needed to start with the run and physicality and then allow Dak to work his way into the game. And I believe he did that from a play call standpoint.
Maybe the real question that comes out of yesterday is, does Minnesota belong in that conversation? Can I show you a number that might just shock you?
Here we go.
The Minnesota Vikings were 8-1 going into yesterday's game. They are 8-2. But on the season, they've been outscored. They have allowed more points than they have scored. They're the first team ever to be 8-2 or better through 10 games and have a negative point differential. Remember the miracle comeback that was that game against Buffalo. So, look.
They grew on us like a fungus, though. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had been fighting it.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to pause there for 1 second here because, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing right here. Okay, this is one of those things where
can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this. Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them.
This is one of those times, okay? Because see, here's the thing: the Cowboys win. They didn't really beat a good team. Understand this: if you take the Dallas Cowboys game away, where they won by 37 points, that differential changes dramatically. Because the Cowboys beat them by 37. You divide that by 10 games. That's 3.7 points per game difference that the Dallas Cowboys changed what the Minnesota Vikings were doing. So if that game didn't happen, they're basically a +2 point differential. I'm not saying that's outstanding, but they make it sound like, how the hell did they win those games? You know, with the -2. The Cowboys game, as well as the Eagles ones, are the reason behind there. See, they actually give it to you. 2 losses this season by a combined 54 points. Those 2 games skew the numbers big time. They skew it big time. So you're being fed, a little bit of BS here. And like I said, for entertainment purposes only.
We never came on here. Yeah, funguses grow. Right? We never came on here and thought to ourselves, oh, Minnesota's
That's the team to beat.
Right? Yeah, like you never watched them 1 week and thought, man, this is it. Like, we had to think.
Then they beat Buffalo.
They beat Buffalo, and we finally said, well, hell, if they beat Buffalo and they've only lost 1 throughout the season, then they got to be that team.
But
so
here's the thing. They're still contenders. And the reason you're going to have to go to Minnesota, they're going to host a playoff game. They're clearly winning their division, so they're going to be in the playoffs. But I never saw this game coming. I knew this is the danger of a team that wins every game by decision, so to speak. All right? They never knocked anybody out. In fact, they're laying flat on their back. They got knocked out yesterday. That's the danger of a team that can't throw the knockout punch.
I think the way to look at Minnesota is when they play their peak in comparison to a Philadelphia, a Dallas, a San Francisco, they can't hang. 2 games this year when they've been absolutely drubbed, Justin Jefferson got stopped. So if he doesn't go off, it's like that offense kind of sputters. Their offense runs through Justin and his high-level success. They've got 2 losses this year, and they had the miracle comeback last week against Buffalo that if not for that 4th and 18 catch, probably, or the fumbled snap, doesn't happen. They're good, but at their best, they're not as good as the top of the NFC.
They will host the Patriots on Thursday night. Remember, Thanksgiving, 3 games. That's the late game.
Win, but they're sitting at 9-1. Can't complain about the record.
There we go. All right, so you hear it. Basically, they're saying Minnesota was frauds. Doesn't matter. All you do is play the teams in front of you, get a win, get out healthy, get some momentum. Now, the problem for the Cowboys is we can't seem to handle good things. We get something going, and you finally go, aha! They finally get it. And then we follow it up with a goose egg, or a shit sandwich. Let's see if we can take this moment, this game, this feeling, and springboard it forward. So we can be where they talked about how good the Eagles were for the first half of the season. Let's see if we can turn it around and have some momentum and be the team that they talk about the second half of the season. Because it's not what you do in September and October. It's what you do come January and February. And with that being said, let's enjoy this win, but let's understand it's just one win. We still have a lot of season to go, a lot of games to play. We're still going to have to face more adversity. So far, so good. And don't forget, tonight we'll be live streaming during the game. And we'll be talking more about the Cowboys versus the Giants. Short week, not much time to enjoy it, but I'll see you soon.